This is Dr. Gigi Sabbat, and you're listening into the Walk With Me podcast. My guest today is Renee. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Likewise, such an honor to have you here today, Renee.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, can you start off by telling us a little bit more about you and where are you from, Renee?
I am originally from New York. We lived in the Hudson Valley area. Grew up in Queens, moved to the Hudson Valley area, and now we are residing in Palm Coast, Florida. Been here since 2018.
Likewise, and we both live in my hometown, Palm Coast. I've been here 25 years. My parents have been here 25 years as well. I love it. It's a great town.
No, it is. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm on a vacation every day.
Yes. And now, Renee, you
Yes.
have exciting news. You recently wrote a book. Tell us a little bit more.
Oh, yes. I wrote a book. This book actually that I put together was, about 2 years. I have been thinking of wanting to put a book together about women in business. I worked with women for about 14 years as a business certified business mentor, and I'm also a speaker. And I find that the journey of women, we are always trying to do everything. I always have said men are strong, but women are stronger mentally. And we try to do everything, take care of the family, take care of ourselves, take care of if we have aging parents and our children. So I put a book together and just taking notes on there, and even my own journey of what it was to be a mom and to raise two kids. And the book that I put together is called the Mompreneur Balance Blueprint. And the
Can you
book
bring
is
it closer
about
to the screen, Renee, so we can see it? There we go. Yes.
better.
Can we
Yeah.
see the entire title? The title of the book? Oh, back it up a little bit. Back it up a little bit. Yes, right there. Perfect. Thank you.
Eh, You're welcome. And the book is about how to build your business without losing yourself, losing your family, but most of all, and how to stay focused on there. So I wrote the book for an easy read, and I wanted the book to be where I am actually talking to the reader. The chapters in the book are short and to the point. They're about a page and a half. And in the book, it is just hitting the areas that we always find we are as women, where we have the supermom syndrome. And that's one of the chapters that I have in the book that I talk about because we as women will never ask for help. I got it, I can do it. And maybe it's because we feel we could do a better job, or maybe, you know what, if I take care of it, uh, I'll get it done quicker. And on that, we don't realize how much we put on our plate. And with that said, when we finally are realizing that we do need the help, we don't know how to ask the help. So we're always saying yes to everything. Yes, I'll do this. Yes, I'll do that. And then meanwhile, when it comes to our loved ones, our family, or our kids, we're snapping because we are so frustrated. We end up running in the bathroom, crying, and just asking ourselves, who have I become? Who am I? And I felt that the book, the Mompreneur Balance Blueprint, which the book isn't only for moms, it's for women in general, women who could be caretakers and maybe not have children, but taking care of other family members. And it could be as myself, I'm a mom, but I'm also a grandmother. I have 4 grandchildren. And how do we balance and take that balance? So the book is really about knowing that you have nothing to feel guilty about in what it is that you do, and helping you to understand what self care is. A lot of times we think about self care being, going and getting our hair done, our nails done, and whatever. But self care is what's within you. What do you need to make yourself worthy, to make yourself feel good? And it's about taking time to breathe. And it's okay to take care of yourself first because you
Right.
have to in order to take care of others.
That's right. And what
Mhm.
message do you have for an individual who wants to write a book as well, but they don't know where to start?
Yes, good question. I will first say is that write your thoughts down. Why do you want to write the book? What is the message you're trying to bring across? And And how would you want the book to be? I mean, how are you as a reader? I'm a reader where I like short and to the point. And if you are one that likes to tell the story, then you tell the story. So when you're writing a book, you'll always, put the main information down, and also too to have maybe someone else look at it and get their view on it. And, am I getting that message across? So I would just say, don't be afraid. Don't put it on the back burner, and let your voice be heard. And, and again, why do you want to write the book?
Great point and great question, Renee. So essentially, where can folks obtain a copy of your book?
My book is available on Amazon, and you could purchase it there. It's 14.99, and you could get the Kindle or the download if you want to say it that way. I believe it's for 16.99. And if you happen to order the book and you would like me to sign it, and you may not be close to me to do that in Palm Coast,
Right.
please reach out to me. In the back of the book, I have resources, and you can actually schedule a clarity call with me where we could talk about your areas or questions you may have on that. And I could get your email address, and I will send you a message that you can tape in the booklet.
I love it. Thanks so much, Renee. And Renee, tell us a little bit more about the major challenge that has occurred in your life.
We all go through challenges, and I would say that challenges make you stronger. We always ask, why me? Why does this always have to happen? Or you could be even looking at other people. Why are they getting where they want to be and I can't? And that's really where you have to take a look at yourself. And you have to accept who you are. You can't be something you're not. And that's what happens a lot, where when we're looking at others, we try to do what they do. Well, it may work for them, but it may not work for you in there. And challenges too are that they're giving you a message, and it's helping you to figure it out. Because I will tell you that, you have to make a decision. Are you going to be driving your car, having a beautiful day, and then all of a sudden there's a detour and road closed? What are you going to do? Sit there and look at it? Are you going to figure out how to get around that roadblock? Once you find that answer, you've already solved the one part of your area that's helping you build your business.
I love it. Well said. Now,
Hmm.
Renee, what message do you have for an individual who's ready to give up today?
A message to, well, I will tell you, if you're ready to give up, it's because you have been doing the same thing over and over
Mm.
and over, and you have not recognized what you're doing is not working. I will first say to you, if you would want to give up, I would say take a break. Just walk away from what it is that you are trying to achieve. And you will find that when you walk away from things and give it a break, all of a sudden new ideas start coming through. It's like going on vacation, right? Why is it that when we go on vacation, I don't know for others, but it happens to me that I'm getting all these great new ideas and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to do this when I get back. I want to do that when I get back. But what happens when we get back? We still feel the same way before we left. The only reason why is you did not clean up what was there that's stopping you, right? So, a few things that I would say is if you have an office and you're finding that thing is working for you, rearrange your office. Take everything out of that office. And as you're in your room, put what you need back. Maybe
Mm.
put it in different places, giving yourself that new look, giving yourself that I really feel comfortable in here. If you do not have a workspace in your home, I would say find an area that you could call your own somehow, some way. Believe it or not, and I have seen this, where if there's a room and it's a big closet, you could have your office in there. It does not mean you can't. You got a door to close, you got a light on, and nobody's going to bother you. And if that's something that works for you, there's always answers. Giving up, I will say, when you give up, you're stopping from helping someone who needs you that can't find you.
Very powerful.
And And when you take a break, and you know what, sometimes, you may need a mentor, someone that could see what you're not envision, right?
Right.
Working differently. How are you, how are you preparing your day and your time and what it is that you need to do? Are you busy just to be busy? Or are you busy and being productive? Two different things, right? Two different things. And when you are busy being productive, you're feeling what you're getting done. And they could be baby steps. You may be reaching too high. The kids, and they're like, oh, how they want to do it. And they're reaching, I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. But they can't because they're not tall enough yet. And that could be the same thing that you're experiencing. You're reaching for something that's too high yet for you to be able to share and accomplish. And two, what I always say is that if you don't have your clients or your business isn't growing the way it is, it's because you haven't built that foundation yet. And I want you to think about something. For those that are listening to this, if you're in that area where, oh, I wish I had more business or, how am I going to put things together? Excuse me.
No, you're good.
If you had all of a sudden 10 people saying, I need you, I want you to do, I want you to help me, blah, 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 would you truly be able to handle it? You see, I say that because if you're not actually established the way you want to be, you may not be able to help everybody so quickly. So things take time and you have to have patience. And you have to every day do something that's going to get you closer. Like, for example, we all have a lot to do, right? The
Yeah.
easiest way that I found for me to do what I need to do is I put everything in one day in my calendar, the tasks. Excuse me. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this. I got to do that. Okay, great. Monday's here. Mondays are not my day. I used to be a hairdresser. Mondays we were off. I can't get out of that mode. Mondays are just like my admin days. So I look at everything on my calendar that I put down as a task for that day. What is the most important? And I check it off. And then I take all the other tasks and I move it for the next day. Same thing. What is the most important I want to do today? Other task, move it, move that. By the time the end of the week comes, I only have one thing to do. And a lot of times what happens is that we make these lists, to-do lists. We may put them down on paper or put them in our computer, however it is that it works for you. We check off things that we shouldn't be checking off that's not on our list. And we fall into that trap all the time. It's like, oh, I got to do that. And we forget about what we put down for ourselves and we're going to do that. If you're one that has a hard time with time, use Claude, use chat, whichever you prefer, and say, if you want to know what you want to do today, when that day, put it in Claude like I do. Like when I have my day, I do. And I say, tell me how much time I'm supposed to spend on each project. And what I do then is I start working on it and I have to put my alarm clock on for me to stop. And I've also done that because sometimes I get so involved in what I'm doing and I'm so excited. I have missed one-on-ones that I've scheduled with people who wanted to talk to me because I was too focused on what to do and I did not realize about the appointment. Even though I have my calendar on my second screen, that's why I need an alarm clock. So I don't miss it of what I have to do.
Well said and very powerful. Don't give up and remember, trust the process and enjoy the process and progression, not perfection. You got this. Now, Renee, what does leadership mean to you?
Oh, leadership. Let me tell you. We will think as being a leader like leadership comes within yourself. Okay. How do you be a good leader, say, to others, right? Maybe you have a team at work and you have to show them what to do. Where leaders, I don't want to say fail, but where it falls through is that leaders sometimes are too busy to dictate. You got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do that. You're expecting everybody to do it. But in order for your team to grow and or in order for you to be where you want to be, you have to get down to their level. You got to do it too, because you want your team to surpass you. Does not mean that they're better than you. It means that they're growing, which means you're going to grow in your business. And this has a lot to do too in direct sales. Like if you're in direct sales, get down and don't ask someone to do something that you're not going to do yourself. And the most part about leadership is within yourself because you're the one that's behind the drive. You're the driver to the vehicle. The leader, think of yourself in the car. You're the leader in that car. You're leading yourself to drive to where you want to go. And you have to know what it is that you want, how you feel, how if you're not feeling great mentally with mindset and all of that, how would you be a good leader for yourself? How would you grow your business? So a little tidbit that I can say about that is it's so important to know when you are the most productive during the day. Because we all were raised with 9 to 5, got to go to job, 9 to 5, da 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 da, right? But we got into business because we want to work for ourselves, right? That's why my business is called Business Freedom Mentoring. Business means, yes, I want to work for myself, right? Freedom means, yes, I want the freedom to do what I want to do and work when I want to work, go on vacation when I want to work. The mentoring means resources. You have to get the right resources for the job that or the business that you want in order for you to share to others what you do for them to want what you have, if that makes sense,
Yes,
right?
it does.
So a little exercise that I do a lot with the women I work with is I first give them a energy awareness uh, audit or edit or energy awareness chart. It's very simple, just has Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, you just do it through the whole week. And it has hours from 6 a.m. to maybe 10 p.m. at night. And when you wake up, depending on what that hour is, you look, have it next to your bed because, a lot of times what we do is we grab our phones, right? To
Right.
get the day going, to grab the sheet and rate yourself from a scale from 1 to 10, excluding 5, because 5 means you're on the fence. 5 gets you nowhere because you've got to have an answer 1 to 4 or 6 to 10. Score yourself and then ask yourself, how do you feel? Did you wake up feeling good? Did you wake up feeling not so great? And then make a note on it. Why? Did you have a bad dream? Whatever that case may be. The reason why I say to do this during the day is you're going to find when you are the most productive. So, for example, I'm not a morning person. I'm not. And I can't force myself to do something when I am not fully attended to do it because what happens? You make mistakes. It takes you 10 times longer. I'm more productive from 12 o'clock. I end my day at 4 o'clock, but I can finish an 8-hour day in 4 hours because I can get the work done, right?
Right.
And I only work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I can do that because I know when I am the most productive, when I want to have my clients, when I want to meet new people, work that I have to do. Mondays are my admin days. Friday are my fun day. It's Fun Friday. It's the weekend. Now, you can do that. It's just going to take time. I've been in business for 14 years. So I figured out how I can do this because it works for me. And that's what my book is all about. How do you find yourself? Who are you? What do you want? How do you feel? Because as a woman, we we always self-talk ourselves that we're not good enough. And you know what? You are. You are good enough. You just have to believe it.
That's right. And the subtitle there, can you tell us a little bit more about the subtitle? I see it there on your book.
Oh, build your business. It says build your business without losing yourself, your family, and your focus. You know what happens? And the reason why I put that subtitle is that, when it comes to losing yourself, you want to quit because you've tried everything. But ask yourself, did you really try everything? Because you have to see, because you're only focused on, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. This isn't working, that isn't working. Okay, it's not working. Push that aside. Next chapter. I know I'm not going to do that again. What are you going to do next? Now, a lot of times we're like, I don't know. And this is the part that you have to ask yourself. If you want your business to grow, if you want to have a business and you are truly not sure how to do it, This is where you go into getting a mentor, a coach, or what have you. A lot of times, investments, well, yes, we think of the money first, but I will tell you, if you are super ready and you are super tired, and I need to get this done until you're pushed in a corner, you're going to figure out how to do it because there's always an answer to something on how you can invest in yourself because you need to ask yourself, if you want others to invest in you, you have to invest in yourself.
Exactly.
You have to learn the strategies and understand the language. A lot what I do with my mentoring sessions is I work with the communication, the language of communication, especially when we're networking. You know, are you finding you have great conversations and then all of a sudden you don't hear from anybody? That's what ghosting's about. And that's because the person felt you weren't listening to them. You were just talking about you. So, how do you talk without saying I, me, myself in a conversation? And that's breaking the habit of always talking about you. Get into the habit of how do I share what I do without saying that? So, for example, I will say, as a business mentor, working with women entrepreneurs, especially moms, helping to give them a clear vision and build a business that will actually work for them. I didn't say I didn't say me, I didn't say myself. So what happens with that? That's where light bulbs goes off in everyone's head because you weren't talking about yourself. But even though I was, I shared it in a
Yes.
different way.
Yes. Great point. Thank you so much for sharing,
Yes,
Renee.
you're welcome.
I'd love to talk about gratitude. What does
Oh,
gratitude mean to you, Renee?
you know, when we think about gratitude, my health, my family, but gratitude at times is when things might have not gone your way, right?
Yeah.
So I know I've talked to Dr. Gigi about this. I in the past have been diagnosed with PTSD. And I am grateful that what I went through, understanding what I had, and not being a victim, but a survivor, has brought me to where I am today. So I'm grateful for that. A lot of people will look at whatever they're diagnosed with or whatever that happens as why me. Well, you know what? You can't change it, but you can make it better because your mindset will help you either overcome your illness, live longer through your illness, or, sometimes we could change our illness. Your mind is so powerful you don't realize how powerful it can be. And, I'm going to just say a quick story. And for those of you that are with Mary Kay, I had been, I don't know if I mentioned it even here, I was sales director with Mary Kay before I even am doing what I'm doing now. And before I wanted to be, I was trying to be a sales director, just for whatever reason, I just could not. I just did not know how to park that car without sticking out straight, right? Nothing was going right for me. And I'm la 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 la, like Charlie Brown's school teacher, that one. Well, for those of you who remember her, National Sales Director Rena Tarbat, I met her. I loved her. I loved her boldness. I thought she was great. And she would tell her story about, how she started with Mary Kay in this 1916, how she got breast cancer. And what I admired so much about her when I met her in the mid 2000s is that she never let cancer bring her down. She always overcame it. I remember her story about having brain cancer. I remember the blood cancer, all of these ailings of cancer she had. And I remember her telling a story once where a friend said to her, "Oh, Rena, why did it have to be you?" And she just bluntly said, "Because you'd be dead already." And that's because she never gave up. She fought it. I remember too, I don't know if she was telling the story or someone was saying is that she would have her trainings with her directors or whatever in the ICU room, in the IC, IC, IUC, IC, what is that? IUC? CUI, the intensive care unit.
I see you.
I see you.
I see
I
you. I
see
see you.
you.
My mother is a nurse, so there that's how I know that. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, sometimes I can't get the words right,
I
but
went the opposite
what
route. I went the legal route. My mom, medical route.
she would do trainings in there. And people would be like, I can't believe her. But that's what kept her strong. I mean, she did pass away in 2013, but for someone to have cancer in 1960 to 2013, do you know how strong you have to be? And if we just don't give up, because that's what your body wants to do, that's what your mind wants to do, because it's like, oh, forget about it. I don't want to do this anymore. Fight it. We have angels on our shoulder. And we have that one angel that says, go out there and get it. You can do this. Yeah, go ahead. Great idea. Then we have the other one saying, well, sounds like a good idea. But, when you start putting that BUT in there, you're losing the battle. And, a lot of times we go to our family for advice and, there's nothing wrong with that. They love you, they care for you, and they don't want to see you get hurt. So they may say things that may not be supportive in a way because they don't want to say, oh, why don't you just stop? Oh, you've been doing really good. It hasn't been working out. And, you'd be surprised with family because I remember one time my mother said to me, and I can't believe it, when I was a consultant, I earned my first career car. It was amazing. I had a red Grand Am, did get a lot of tickets because you do get tickets with the red car. And I showed my mom and she realized, she goes, wow, you really do work. And I'm like, well, what do you think I've been doing this whole time?
Right.
But that's the mindset. Like sometimes we do things because we got to prove it to our family. No, you don't. You got to prove it to yourself that you can do it. Right. So that's what the book is about, not losing yourself, and your family, especially if you have children, they're watching every single thing you're doing, how you handle stress, how you're working your job. Are you always complaining? Complaining makes us feel good, right?
Right.
But really, what does it make you do? We as women absorb so much emotion from everybody else. Our kids, our husband, this, aunts, uncles, whichever. But when it comes down to us, who's going to absorb our emotions? And that's why we as women will say, you don't understand what I'm going through. I can't explain it now because no one's there truly to listen to us the way we need to be listened to, if that makes sense.
Yes, it
Right.
does make sense.
So, and that's what the focus is. Be focused on what you want. Breathe, you know, um, if you're into crystals like I am, take your crystals, take your angel cards,
Right.
sage your home, whichever it needs to be, but do what you have to do that's going to make you happy.
Exactly. And I love what you said about focus, right? And Tony Robbins, he says, where focus goes, energy flows. So important.
It's It is so true. It is true. And don't be fighting your focus, right? Brain
Right.
fog. Don't let brain fog get in the way. And the best way I can explain brain fog is, I mean, fog, not frog, fog, is, the day could go great. Like you're driving your car and everything's like great, and you got your music on, and you're like, yeah, this is great. Then all of a sudden the weather's changing. All of a sudden it's getting a little hazy out. And all of a sudden now the fog's coming in. And now you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I should go straight. I don't know if I should go left. I don't know if I should go right. You know what? I just should have stayed home. That's brain fog because you don't know the direction you want to go in. And that's where you got to release it, walk away, enjoy nature, go to the beach if you're near the beach, or take a hike if the mountains are near you. Just remove yourself from the situation and come back again. But like I always say, make sure you're happy where your working space is because that has a lot to do with how you feel.
That's right. And you're making me think of the route, right? Essentially, sometimes folks may be on a route and there may be a pause or there may be a delay or something, or you may feel as though you can't get to the destination, but yes, you can. There's always a
Mm.
way, and essentially just trusting the process, but not just that. Sometimes it's if you're a believer, right? God saving you from something as well. I've heard so many instances where, oh my goodness, if this has happened, I had missed it by 3 seconds in a car accident or something like that. We hear it all the time. So again, if something like that has happened, and don't give up, as we spoke about earlier, right? There's always a way. It may not just be that clear path that you thought it may be, but there is a
Mhm.
way. You'll get there. Just trust and
Mm.
enjoy the process.
Yes, it's true. And you're so right about when hiccups come about. And about, I remember at one time, oh, I never forget this. I go out in my in my garage. I have a flat tire. I'm like, how the heck do I get a flat tire in my garage?
And what happened? What?
And what happened was I had that AAA card, what do you call it, AAA? The guy
Yeah.
was only 5 minutes away, and he came and changed my tire, and I was out. It was fine. But what happened was traffic occurred somewhere because of an accident. And if I would have been earlier, I
Mm.
could have been part of that accident. So I believe in angels. I don't know how other people feel, but angels are my thing. And I always believe that you're watched over. It could be with our loved ones, holding you back from something so something doesn't happen to you. So instead of getting mad about it, which we always do, we're like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Take a breath and say, all right, there's a reason why this happened because maybe it's delaying me from being involved in something else. Okay, it happens. It's done. Deal with it instead of getting frustrated over it. And then just move on and just go, to your next spot, what you have to do
Right. Exactly.
with
Thanks so
that.
much, Renee. Now,
Thank you.
Renee, you're welcome. What is your best advice to the audience for walking with purpose and living a life of happiness?
My best advice is to make sure that you are happy with yourself and what you want, and don't do things for others because it pleases them. And when you learn how to stand on your own 2 feet and not worry about what other people have to say, is where you'll be, again, riding being in that journey with that car and having a beautiful ride to where you want to go. And that's my best advice on it is do what you want to do, not when someone else wants to do it. And be happy with the choices you are making. We have a little inner voice, and at times we never listen to it because we're like, oh, I don't know, whatever, this and that. Listen to your inner voice. We have that gut feeling too, right? I mean,
Right.
you might have found yourself in situations where someone's telling you to do something, you're like, I don't know about that. And you don't know how to get out of it. Well, I'll tell you how to get out of it. If someone's telling you to do something, you got to do this and that, or join this and that, just say, that sounds like a great idea. Let me sleep on it. And can I get back to you by the end of the week? You see, what happens is you didn't say yes, but you didn't say no. And by the time you get back to the end of the week with that person that you have to share whatever it is you need to share with, they're going to accept what you have to say because you took the time to think about it. Now, when it comes to sometimes when it comes with our family or if they're wanting to do something, especially with their kids and stuff, we, I was just talking to someone today about, kids going to college or kids may not want to go to college and they may want to take a journey, like a year break. And, sometimes parents get upset about that. No, you got to keep doing this, you got to do. Sometimes we have to ask ourselves, are we living through our children? Because that's what we want them to do because I didn't do it. Right.
Right.
And sometimes, if kids feel that they have to take a break, it means they just may not be ready yet. And that's okay. Doesn't mean that they may not go, but you never know. With taking a break, they may fall into an industry that better fits them in what it is that they want to do than to take that journey of going to college. Nothing wrong with those that are. So please don't misunderstand me. I'm just talking about those that may have that little back and forth, or, my parents are wanting me to go to college, so I have to. All right, great. What's going to happen? You're going to go. Are you going to give you 100%? Are you going to be, are you going to be like Animal House? Everybody's like toga time. I mean, and I think parents, if you're a parent and you're listening to this, really ask your kids what they want, right? Sometimes we feel like, oh, they don't know what they want. I'm not saying that's not true, but we have to help them to know what they want. We have to be supportive of them and their decisions. And if they're saying something that you may not be crazy about, but maybe something that they have to go through to learn, right? Like they always, like when kids are little, they're crawling and you just want to be like, oh, or like they're trying to turn on their bellies and you're like, come on, you can do it. You just want to give them a little push, but they have to learn on their own, right? So when they're starting to crawl, then they start to walk, and the walking is like the petrifying part. Like, oh my God, they're going to hit the coffee table. Like, you don't want them to, but sometimes, but what happens with kids when they fall? All right, they don't cry, they get up, unless God forbid they get hurt. But they're just like, up, no, getting back up and doing it again. So if you were one that wants to give up, think of yourself as a child when you wanted to walk. You did everything you can to walk because you wanted to get to where you wanted to go.
Right.
Do the same thing now. And what you want to do and stop thinking, oh my gosh, stop thinking and start doing. Because that's what we did not do as kids when we were little, learning how to walk. We never thought about it. We just did it because that's what happens. What's thinking? But we talk ourselves out of a lot, and that's why we quit.
It's very powerful. Thank you so much for sharing, Renee.
You're
Now,
welcome.
Renee, yes, I do want to acknowledge that it is summertime,
Mhm.
and we mentioned traveling earlier. Have you traveled at all this summer?
Well, when I do travel, I go to see my daughter in Illinois. That's just like most about the traveling doing right now. And my husband's soon retiring, so we're hoping to do the fun travels. And I have to be honest with you too, because we traveled coming to Florida. That was our vacay. But I have, and now I'm like, all right, I have the ocean. All right, I have the beach. Now, where do I want to travel? And I had said to my husband, I know you're not one to go out of the country, but there's so much here in America to see. I want to go see the the presidents on the mountain.
You okay?
Mount Rushmore. There we go. I
Right.
remember Rushmore. You
Yeah.
know, Yellowstone, the
Yes.
park, all that stuff. There's so much to see. And even in Tennessee, and we have friends in Tennessee, so we've been there and we saw a lot of stuff. But yeah, it's discovering the country I live in. And I don't really know if a lot of people do that because they're always wanting to go out of the country. I think by doing that, you'll appreciate the country you live in and
Absolutely.
see what America has to offer you.
Oh yeah, I just came back from Los Cabos, Mexico, and it was
I know you
absolutely
did.
amazing. Yes, beautiful. If I had to put it in one word, beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And that's true too. It's like if you're younger, you're not married, you don't have kids, and travel as much as you can. Maybe there's someone that I knew that was leaving a job and she took a job on the cruise ship. I'm like, how awesome is that? She's
Right.
not married, she's single. And, sometimes you have to live the life before you settle down. Because once you do, it's a totally different ball game, as we
That's
all know,
true.
when you get married and things like that. And I thought that was like, wow, that's such a great thing to do. You're going to really have a great time. And I love to travel. When I was sales director at Mary Kay, OMG, I loved it. I actually wanted to become a stewardess. And I remember like back in the day, and I'm talking like was it in the 70s or something like that? You would have like these people come to your home and stuff, and they talk to you about different opportunities or how I got hooked up with that. I can't remember. And right at the end, my mother pulled the rug out for me. She goes, if you're going to die, you're dying here. You're not dying up in the air. I'm like, what?
Oh.
I'm like, are you serious? So, you know what? I wish I would have done that because I said, you want me to travel. You want me to see places. What better way to do it, getting paid and being on a plane?
Yeah.
But, sometimes too, we stop our kids from doing things from our own fear, and we have to let that go. We have to let them learn.
I love it. And you just made me think of something. The individual who wants to travel, they want to get somewhere. Maybe it's another state,
Yes.
maybe it's another country, another place, but they have a fear of flying. And that's the only way they can get there is flying. What message do you have for that individual today who's
You
listening?
know, I'm going to tell you a message, and this was said to my husband. He doesn't like to fly. And his friend said, well,
Mm.
because you're not in control. And he looked at it and goes, what are you talking about? He goes, you can't fly the plane. You have to rely on someone else to fly it.
Right.
You're not in control. So the fear of flying is, I will say that you have to address the fear and what it is. I mean, sometimes people are like really petrified. It could
Right.
be it's too small of a cabin. I remember flying with my husband, and we hit a storm. Oh, I shouldn't even say that, right? No, but I meant the weather was just, it was raining in the area that we were going to. So we had to be diverted, what have you. And we landed in the Kennedy Airport. I think it was Kennedy Airport. And we had to sit on the runway because of the other planes that were either delayed or planes were coming in and what have you. They had to just adapt to what was going on. And I was sitting there, and it's like an hour and a half, right? And I said, "Okay." And the stewardess was going by, and I'm like, I looked at my husband. I said, I need to get off now. I really need to get off the plane right now." And she heard that, so she walked back, sat in front of me, and said, "Hey," started talking to me, and we were talking about things. I started laughing and stuff. She took my mind off of it. And that's what they're supposed to do. And she heard it. So, if you have a fear, address it. If God wants you when he wants you, it, it's going to be when it's going to be, right?
That's right.
And if he doesn't want you yet, because you still have things to do here on earth, or here or however, you're still going to be here, right? I mean, anything can happen to you anywhere. And if the fear of that plane is, you really have to address it. Are you claustrophobic? Can you be in a room with a lot of people? So when you address the problem of what it is, and a lot of times we have to talk about it. And when I had PTSD, I knew I had to go for counseling, with and talk about it.
Right.
But I did not want the traditional therapist that we have, that you have.
Right.
I met a woman that did healing therapy through spiritual healing. And I was like, all right, let me try that route. And you know what? It made such a difference because one of the things, like I say, you have a cup of life, right? It's like, like a cup and it gets filled and filled.
Yes.
But as something happens in life, and when it reaches the top, it falls over, like overflows. And that's when you kind of like hit your rock bottom on there. And what happened with me was I understood that I was in shock that my mom died because she was one always with heart issues for 50 something years, always got through it, even had an afterlife and death experience and shared it on how happy she was where she was and how peaceful it was. And when I addressed that was like the true thing that started how I was feeling, and I didn't know how to address it, I started to feel better. I started to say, you know, I just always relied her always coming through. So that's pretty much, really about fear. You if you live your life through fear, you're not living at all.
That's right. If you're afraid, do it afraid, as you mentioned. I remember in my first time getting on a plane, I was nervous. Yes, to that point, I was nervous, but I did it anyway. I flew out to Kansas, to Wichita, and I'm glad that I did. And from there, I have traveled again, by myself,
Mhm.
to Mexico, Los Cabos, Mexico, and I'm
Yeah.
glad that I did. And so, faith
Yeah.
over fear. If that's you, you have a fear of getting on a plane, faith over fear. You got this. I believe in you. And I want to circle back to what you said, Renee, about PTSD and trauma and facing it. It's so important, and I'm so proud of you for coming forward and letting your voice be heard. I
Mhm.
know I'm just so proud of you. And
Thank
I
you.
yes, you are an inspiration to me, my friend. And when we talk about trauma in itself, right? And you know my story. You know the sexual
Mhm.
assault at 8 and again as an adult. And so I
Mhm.
say all the time, it's so important to face the trauma, as difficult as it may be. And it's so important to meet people where they are. And going
Mhm.
back to what we spoke about earlier and what someone may be going through, you never know what someone's going through or where they are on their healing journey. So just meet people where they are.
Definitely. And like I said before, if I didn't have PTSD, I wouldn't be where I am now. That was the journey I had to go in to be able to do what I'm doing now
That's right.
and to be able to be a speaker and to be able to share my story because each of us has a story to share. And if you're a business owner, we always feel we got to be professional and we got to, show people that, what you could do, what you could do, and you have all of these certifications and XYZ. You know what? A person wants to hear your story. A person wants to see how true you are. A person wants to know, even if you may be doing something else, what brought you to do that? How'd you get there? Is it great to have certifications? Oh, yes. Is it great to have masters and all? Of course. I'm not putting that down. On that, people also want to know a little bit about you. Why should I trust you? Why should I hire you? And when you're genuine, when you aren't putting up a farce like in front, like, oh, I'm this and I'm like
Right.
that. No, people can see right through you. People can see exactly who you are. Hey, listen, do I say things right? No, as you saw, I couldn't say I see you, right? I said CUI or whatever. I don't know what
It's
the heck I
okay. I
told it.
see you.
I see you, but you have to learn how to laugh at yourself because when you laugh at yourself, people laugh with you. And it's okay because we're not perfect in everything that we do. I can't even tell you, hey, the glasses I'm wearing right now? I couldn't understand why I kept bumping into walls and why I was dropping things. I'm thinking, oh my God, like you heard me say before,
Right.
I'm
No
not
one's
getting this. I'm
perfect.
ready for
No
that.
one's
I'm not
perfect.
well, I found out that they didn't do my glasses right the last time. So my eye was not focusing. And then all of a sudden, bam, there's a wall and I'm smacking right into it, or I'm dropping this because I'm not grabbing it. There's always an answer to everything,
Yes,
with that. So, you have to laugh at yourself because if you don't, you don't have much laughter at all in life.
I love it. Well said, Renee. Now, do you have any last words for the audience?
You know, I just want to say to everyone that believe in yourself, your faith, and you said this before, like faith to fear. When you have faith, and I'm not pushing anything on anyone, everybody will believe if it's spiritual faith or religious faith. I always say when you can't handle something, just kiss it up to God. He'll take care of it. Why are you going to sit here and stress over something that you have no control over? And you'll find that you have a little bit more peace within yourself. And you know what? If you're a person that has never done that, it's not going to happen overnight. It won't. It takes time because you may not be ready yet. But my words to you is always be open-minded to hear what people have to say, listen, and then process it. At times we're just so quick to react back. But if you take the time to not hear your voice and hear the other person's voice and what they're saying, you may think twice how you want to answer back to them. Because once you say something, you can't take it back, right? And I will always say, too, my last words are, especially if you're a business owner, we always put our good front up, but we have a personal life. And you got to remember that
Right.
because if other people saw you and what it is that you do or how you act or what you say, and you're not in your business attire, let's say, or in your business world, that says a lot about you too, because you can never make a second first impression. And always keep that in mind. You have to make that first impression because that's what people will always remember when they see you.
Exactly. Very powerful. Now,
Yeah.
Renee, where can the audience find you?
If you would love to reach out to me, I am on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You can always reach me on my website. It's my name, ReneeDeVincenzo.com. Excuse me.
You okay?
And yeah, I got a
All
tickle in my
right.
throat here. Tickle, tickle, tickle. And
It happens. It's
that
real.
would be like the best way, because you could go to the contact page. You could say, saw you with Dr. Gigi, like to learn a little bit more about you, and I'll send you a clarity link or just a get to know you link. And you could always schedule some time and love to talk to you, love to hear your story. What do you want? And what's your purpose?
I love it. Thanks,
Mhm.
Renee. And thanks for being a guest on the Walk With Me podcast. God bless you and be safe.
Thank you. And thank you for having me.